Mama in the Little Field. And they became such a part of our lives and our kids' lives, growing up with all these wonderful artistic people. And actually, we have one of the artists here with us today who did. Can you see that watercolor way over in the corner there? It's done by Cynthia Cooley. Where are you, Cynthia? There she is. Cynthia came along with us on our European tour for part of it anyways, and she painted the scenes wherever we went. How many paintings did you do, Cynthia? 10 or so? I don't remember. At least one and anyhow, the poets were also a wonderful part of our lives, especially one whose name was Darr. And Anne had been in the Second World War as in the Women's Air Force. And, you know, they weren't allowed to do the things that the male pilots did, but they were allowed to test drive the planes across the ocean, make sure, and if they dropped in the ocean, that's okay, it was just a woman. So, anyhow, that was her experience. But she came on board the boat and fell in love with everything going on. And I don't know how many times she returned, 7 or 8, maybe different seasons. And so she wrote this. This is kind of long, I hope you don't mind, but it captures the essence of a residency, and I know the musicians are going to recognize the elements of this. So it's called St. Louis to New Athens, 1978. This is 2 years after the new boat was started with Counterpoint 2. By car, we drive to New Athens, distinguished by a hard A beginning. On the banks of the Kaskaskia River, the third longest in Illinois, where the pioneers fought the Kaskaskia Indians and moved the West westward. Counterpoint 2 is nowhere in sight. Judy Bryan drives me to her home. I'm stuck. Even the poets had to live in the homes, the musicians. Homes of the people in the community, in addition to the musicians. So she's going to Judy Bryan. So Judy Bryan drives me to her home, and 7-year-old Angela loans me her room. It is lined with animal posters whose eyes stare at me all night. But first, we go back to the waterfront, where the townspeople are gathered on a high grassy ridge. Word is, our boat is on its way. The musicians are already here. They have arrived in their vans, red and blue and green and white and yellow. After flipping a few frisbees, they gather in their chamber groups and by the light of the parked vans begin to play. First one group and then another, while the sun sinks behind the trees. The night is cold. We are wrapped in quilts, sprayed with off. The police announcement squeals, Counterpoint is coming. Downriver, lights rake the horizon, and the orchestra boat sails into sight, all flags flying. The crowd surges toward the water, cheering. Over come the lines, the sound equipment. I see Paul leveling the speakers, Jamie hawking programs, Kathleen setting the children into proper seats. The musicians pour on board, the trumpets take to the air, and the cantilevered roof rises as the music rises, as my spirit rises. Late and cold and bug-ridden we are, but the music raises us to the glad we came. Lupus Fisher's report galvanizes us. The light of the night is forgotten, swept with music as we are on that riverbank, the Kaskaskia of Illinois. Now Mark trying to talk the top dog into letting the fireworks come from this side of the river. He loses, consents to be taken to the other shore, settles his head into the let's do it I know so well. He is hustled off to board the rowboat, which will take him to the firing spot. We follow the fireworks onto the boat. I linger back a little to gaze at its silver sides, move across the gangplank, lay my hand on Robert's. He does a double take and says with a grin, "Our poet has arrived." For the first time, I see what was hidden to me before. The whole underdeck of the barge has been cleared, architectured. There is space. The new living quarters. No more sleeping in the museum. Elegant, carpeted, low-lighted, with Henry, the full-sized leather seal, resting on a couch. There are Josh and Tanya and Jonathan, half remembering me. There are Jack and Paul and Marilyn, the old crew and the new, Diane from last summer, Jamie jumping up and down, Robert and Kathleen, as if I am coming home to a family I have known and been separated from, and now reunion in New Athens, Illinois. Population 2,000 on the Kaskaskia River, where I have never been before. I have, in some strange way, come home. Is it the carnival? The circus? The floating showboat? What urge to go with the traveling music? Every time I hear the horns begin fanfare for the common man, and the roof is rising in the air against the background of flags, my insides leap and begin a rising too that goes straight up, as high